Hey yo, my Planet Coaster friends, Johnny5 Alive here, and welcome back to another episode of Coaster Spotlight Bundle Edition. That is right, we have three amazing creations to check out in today's video, all brought to you by our patrons. We give our patrons spotlight priority for supporting the show, which means their creations will get seen before any of the other submissions that are submitted to the show. So if you guys would like your own spotlight priority, or if you just want to support the show, check out the links down in the description below to see the Patreon page. We've also added in a VIP section to the Discord. Whether you're supporting through YouTube or Patreon, you're gonna have access to that, where we're gonna hang out and do some private streams and play some video games and all sorts of good stuff like that. So we're gonna be looking for ways to extend the reward systems for the patrons going forward. And with that out of the way, let's get right on in with today's creations. All right, welcome back, everyone. Hope you're all doing well today. We're going to jump right on into the first build, which is Sawmill, created by Roger, one of our Discord builders and bronze patrons. And here they say, hey, yo, Johnny and team. Finally managed to round up my third creation. I was planning to make a 4K blueprint, but boy, oh boy, I failed. It was finally above 8K, and I was too stupid to split it into two 4K blueprints, so I made a park file for it instead. I am still not good in stories, just liked to create a nicely themed coaster with some triggered events. That is quite okay, man. You don't need a story for every one of your creations. It is just a bonus that some people like to do. I don't know how much time I spent. I guess about 5 weeks, which was for this 2 for the station, as I got completely bogged down. No freaking ideas. Normally I like to make a nice queue story, but for one reason, I thought this coaster didn't need a complicated queue, so just hop on the coaster and go. The coaster is a water coaster and tried to get lots of interaction between the trains. Some of them are better from the trains, others are from path or cinematic. The seat you should ride intersect, third from the bottom right, so looking forwards above the second row. I've added a time machine to keep the time at daybreak. Thanks for your and your team's work. Looking forward to join the contest next time. Kind regards, Roger. Okay, quite an introduction. A little bit of a rough read, that one. Did my best. Let's get into it. All right, here we are at the first creation of the day, Sawmill. The time is set to 6:35 a.m. on the park file. The other two are blueprints, so we will switch the times up for them, but I want to respect the creator's choice of time. But I do think this one does look worthy of a day run, considering it's a water coaster and water shines best during like a 10 a.m. setting. But this looks absolutely fantastic. Really cool stuff. I haven't seen a water coaster with this much detail, with the steampunk and all that built into it, so I'm pretty excited for this one. So we do have a queue, and you said you didn't really do much for the queue story, but we'll check it out anyways. I mean, it's there, it's built, so we might as well take a gander. Plus we can look at this awesome coaster perspective as we walk down this trail here. I like the lighting as well. I mean, it's a 6 a.m. lighting, but we can see what it would look like at night. You put these nice oranges and yellows in, spread it about. It's looking really well lit, and here we go. A water cascade coaster. It's been a while since I rode one of these that wasn't in a park. Here's a look at all the stats if you want to see them. Wow, 1,400 meters in length. Let's find the coaster train that we're supposed to be on. I think it's this one. They asked for a seat. Let me see. Intersect, which is this, and looking forward. All right, here we go. it is. Let's talk about it. Really cool. Really cool. I'm gonna move it to daytime so we can see some of the effects and interactions during the day. There it is. Now, I thought that was a really fun experience. However, it might have been just the music with the pacing, the techno music, everything was super upbeat. As soon as we got to the top of this lift and the coaster really started going, it felt really exciting. And same with the second part as well. But there were parts of the coaster that I felt like the pacing could have been a little bit better. And I do like this touch that you did down below. You created some fake splashes in certain spots just so you didn't stop the coaster, because when you hit the water, the actual water segment of the ride, it completely kills all the momentum of your coaster. So you added in splash effects and touchdown moments throughout the ride experience, utilizing some of those water effects, but maintaining the speed of your coaster. So the parts that I felt like were a little bit lulling and could have been sped up or changed to an actual water ride experience are definitely these ones here. We're just kind of coasting along here and it's dry, it's dead. Why not make this a spectacular water show and have little pipes and stuff bursting and have this as a log flume going through, or make it have a little bit more speed coming through here. I felt like it didn't have quite enough speed to make that part exciting, whereas it doesn't really do you a favor having it as a coaster there when it could have just been a log flume going around, because we have a lift here anyways. So I don't know, something about this segment felt a little bit off to me, or a little bit dry or lackluster, and it broke the pacing of which was accelerating and awesome over here. And that is the interesting thing about these water cascades, is they're meant to have slow, enjoyable, relaxing moments, and also coaster experiences that are still thrilling. And we do get that here, but that's where I get a little bit confused that this could have just been a really awesome water experience on this half of the coaster, tying it together with the other awesome water elements. It just feels a little bit, it's falling a little bit short in that one area. But everything else felt really good, especially when the coaster's ripping down here, going through all the scenery, going up and around. The second lift going up to the blimp added a lot of anticipation and suspense, and we're weaving in and out of all this crazy caves and steampunk stuff. Love this little area here as well. I think just incorporating a little bit more of that to the back end, because this is no longer a blueprint coaster. You could have really gone ham with the exterior decor on the surrounding parts of the coaster and some of these aspects there. Aesthetically, it looks beautiful. I really loved coming up the lift at 6 a.m. looking at this contraption. Things are blowing up, water's spouting out, looks crazy. Love all the pieces that were used into making this ornate. It's awesome. Nighttime lighting's great. So I think everything about this is really absolutely sensational, and I'm wondering if either making the coaster come down here and straight back up to the lift would have been a better choice, or making this more of a water park experience over here would have been what just really sets it home for me. Boarding station's awesome too, by the way. I like what you did up here. This is really gnarly. It's a beautiful creation. It really, really is. Absolutely. All right, well, I mean, this is Roger, a builder, a first-time creation, or first time I've seen your name. Looking forward to participating in future contests. Must be new to the community, being at the builder rank, being the first time I've seen your creation. So thank you for deciding to support the show, Roger. And through that, I'm able to see your creation come to the front and see what you're capable of. And if you're building like this as a builder, I mean, you're going to be climbing up the ranks in no time, because this is some very expert quality stuff right here. And it's looking really, really fun. So I can't wait to see what Roger does next. Sawmill was an amazing first-time creation, and a great little sign here as well. What did you guys think? Leave your comments down below for Roger, and let's move on to the next creation of the day. Gem Hunter, created by Blastkat, one of our Discord builders, golden patrons, and a good friend of mine. And here they say: welcome to the mines, where your goal is to obviously get rich and find some precious gems. Make sure to grab your pickaxe, shovel, and light the small themed ride queue. Be careful with your dynamite though, as you would not want anything bad to happen. Hello Channel 5 gaming crew. This is my first 4K blueprint, and it is a Typhoon Infinite with a beyond vertical drop, launch, and so much more. This blueprint really pushed me and it helped me with my building skills, as a rock work on its own is quite challenging. Shout out to the many Discord moderators, especially Bukul, for their input on my design. The best place to ride is the second seat at night, although the views from the outside of the ride are also cool. The blueprint is fairly easy to set up, and the water can be removed as they are grouped. Thanks, and I hope you enjoy. Boom, let's check it out. here we are. As they mentioned, the water can be removed. We can add our own water. I would imagine you kind of want to terraform water all the way around this if you want to put it in your parks and kind of create like a moat or something around there. Nice little entrance sign here, Gem Hunter, using some of the fun fonts on the workshop there. Good rock work. As mentioned, you struggled with the rock work, and this actually turned out really nice. So I love the way that looks. Little waterfall creek thing at the top there, and a crazy looking barn lift. That's awesome. So yeah, not much for the queue in terms of if this was set up, we would just go up and around the dynamite and in here, but that's kind of to be expected with these blueprints. They wanted to see this at night, so why don't we go to like 8 p.m. or maybe, yeah, that works. And they wanted us to see it in second seat. So we're gonna go in the second seat. No flailers today, no guests on this ride. Caution, mind your head. Let's go.
Hail, Sal Capado.
Boom! There it is. Wow. All right, let's talk about it. I really love the fact that you pushed yourself to do all those triggered events. The cave blowing up all the way through was absolutely amazing. We have a little bit of a storytelling experience there. We're blowing up caves, trying to look for gems, and here we go. We find our riches in here. Now, I think this creation is actually really solid. Even though the coaster's a little bit short, I mean, it's aesthetically, it's really nice. The coaster was smooth, and I've seen a few of Blast's creations in the past. He's very new. I think all I've seen from him so far was the Fallout 76 park, and this is definitely miles improved in both coaster design, smoothness, layout, aesthetics. It's a full complete package, and you managed to fit it into 4K. So I think you're doing a lot really well here. I think the one thing that was kind of missing for me is a day-night sequencer. You said to ride it at night, and I was actually kind of shocked because I thought this was going to be a day experience, but while going up the lift or something, you switch it to night, and then once we go back outside, it switches back to day. When we go in the caves, it switches to night. So I think playing around with that time machine, the day-night sequencer time machine, would have definitely benefited you here to switch the lighting back and forth to create a little bit more of a different pacing, because it looks so good on the outside at daytime, and you don't really have a whole lot of nighttime lighting on the outside, so it's looking a little bit drab without any torches or anything like that. The caves are well lit, and but that's only half the experience. So I would have either lit the outside for nighttime or used the time machine, and I think that would have really hit it home for me. And then maybe some custom sound effects in here, just to really amp up the fact that we hit the jackpot. Just a few sound effects going off. Some celebratory sound effects would have been nice. So very minor feedback from me on this one. I think you did a great job, Blast. You're definitely improving on your skills from the last creation that we've seen from you, and fitting it into a 4K style. Smooth coaster, great layout, and some fun build aspects and great terrain work. So really solid stuff. Also, grouping your water panels like that for customization is really helpful for anyone wanting to download this. So I think it's really solid. So just try that day-night sequencer. Maybe even go open this up and play around with the time machine and update the blueprint. See if that helps at all. Yeah, very minor feedback from me on this one. I thought it was great. What did you guys think? Leave your comments down below for Blastkat, and let's move on to the final creation of the day. Dark Forest Castle, created by Hottie82, one of our Discord advanced builders and silver patrons. And here they say, an old castle, a bit shabby. At that time, an old professor lived in him. Who of course carried out very terrible experiments, and at the end conjured up a demon that materialized in the form of an evil cloud and lightning. Now you have the courage to face this demon, so take a lap in the Dark Forest Castle on a very intense roller coaster. Hope it doesn't lift you too much. Okay, let's get into it. Here we are at the Dark Forest Castle. Now, I didn't set up the pathing, but I'm assuming we just head on in. Get your worst sausage. I don't know where I'm supposed to be going from here. Let's head up the stairs. Now, if this is where the queue is supposed to run, it's feeling a little bit sporadic and broken at the moment. Well, I don't know where we're supposed to go. That pathwork looks like a nightmare to set up, not gonna lie. There was no pathing guide that I like. Normally you see arrows where you're supposed to lead everything to, and then you delete them. But this did not have that. So I could see this being just a big assumption game, which could be very, very difficult to set up. So what are we dealing with here? Today, we're a Typhoon Infinite. Green across the board. 1,900 meters in track length. G-forces are just outrageous. Let's give it a go. All right, there it is. Let's talk about it. So, first of all, the coaster itself, the coaster layout and traversal wasn't that bad. It's pretty decent. However, we also it's just, there's so much track to go over where it's hard to pinpoint the areas which could definitely use some improvement. But what we can always do, and this is a mention for anyone that's new to the game, Hottie as well. Looking at your G-forces, the laterals, you could see some areas where it really needs some major improvement, especially there at that end. It was doing all sorts of crazy, wild stuff, and you just need to get that purple out, even it out, smooth it out, stretch out your pieces a little bit more. And then looking at our verticals. So you have some things to work out in terms of your vertical and lateral and just the smoothing and the transitioning. When you're doing a big piece into another piece, you need to space them out. Otherwise, you get these kinks, and just give yourself more breathing room. However, I understand that you had this concept and you built this castle and you wanted to weave it in and out and do all sorts of crazy stuff. And it starts to get a little bit more difficult to do that when you're working in such a confined space. So there's some major points of feedback here that I think we can summarize as try to find the platform of which you want to express your creation on. So this is submitted as a coaster spotlight, and it is a blueprint that I was able to put down, but you actually submitted it as a exploration park coaster, which it's not because I can clearly find it here. So it's actually a blueprint coaster, but you submitted it as a park coaster, and it even comes with the park entrance apparently. So yeah, when I'm trying to say the platform of what you're trying to achieve, are you trying to achieve a blueprint coaster? Are you trying to achieve an exploration park coaster? It seems like you're trying to do both. You submitted it as an exploration park coaster, but you submitted me a blueprint, or when you download it, it's actually a blueprint. So I think you are trying to achieve a blueprint. Now, as a blueprint itself, you got to be careful on how you upload that, because for one, you've taken the park entrance with you, which is going to cause problems for placing it. And when you actually do get to place it, this was actually not, I can't actually place this properly, because if you, my map size is not giving me enough space. So here we go. If I sink this into the ground where it should be, so that this wall is no longer floating and essentially everything else is no longer floating, you cannot be placed. So either you did some terraforming on the map that you were working on, or everything is just accidentally floating. So I had to place it like this and everything was floating, which is really inconvenient. And now that you've placed it, like I said, doing this pathing is a nightmare unless you have arrows saying, oh, guide me here, guide me down here. I mean, I might be able to figure it out as I go down, but then there's certain spots where it just leaves you hanging and you go, okay, where do I go from here? Everything here is incomplete. Do I go this way? Do I go that way? Maybe I go this way. No. And you see, you start running into these problems of you're leaving it up to the person who's placing it. Maybe I'm supposed to go through here, but where do I go from there? And that's the pieces are incomplete, and the castle's incomplete in the sense that you ran out of pieces. With that, bringing it back around to my original point, trying to figure out what suits your creation best for presentation. I think something this grand is not meant to be a blueprint, because you have rides in here, and rides deserve the same treatment as a coaster. They deserve a nice queue. They deserve theming around them, a sign, an entrance, all that jazz. And you can't afford to do that. We've seen people do really good ride skins with 4,000 pieces. That is a blueprint. Now trying to build a castle and all the way around, that is a lot of pieces. So I think what you should have done is made a mini park. A spooky area, really build that out, a little cascading town, some eating areas, shopping areas, flat rides, queues, a forest, yada, yada, yada. And then you build this grand castle and what you use here for your lift. Now suddenly you have way more room to work with. And as the coaster's going through, we don't have incomplete pieces everywhere. You have the part count to finish what you started, but you also can make the castle as big as you want. And you could set up the pathing for us. And then you could submit that as an exploration park coaster, which it was. And then from there, I think we can work on giving you the proper feedback. As of right now, it's hard to give you the feedback because of those major points. Not giving the coaster enough room to breathe, but trying to fit it into a blueprint, and then those areas you can smooth. I think in terms of how I would fix this coaster, the game tells you that information. It tells you through the heat maps. And a lot of those areas, if they were cleaned up, I think the coaster could be good. But I also think this area is just too much track for such a tight area. Unless you're, Zaphor, who's came up with some freaking mathematical equation to make it work seamlessly without seeing any of the tracks. I've seen Legends pull off very, very large amounts of tracks in very little spaces. But for someone that's newer to the game who's trying to build a quote-unquote exploration coaster, I think you need to give yourself more room. And then from there, your theming and stuff, trying to pack all this into one blueprint is where you're struggling. And I asked myself the question of, if you did a mini park and gave yourself I don't know, let's see what our mini park size was. A 40 by 40 area. Wow. So you're making a blueprint that's the size of our mini park contest. So yeah, why not just make a mini park? And that kind of proves my point right there. So if you give yourself that much space, or even this much space, and then you had all your flat rides, your castle, your forest, and then your coaster could navigate around all that, I think you could get that 2,000 meters of track all the way around and doing more interesting things, if that makes sense. Because part of me wants to comment on, things that are floating, things that could be polished, things that aren't lined up, parts of the castle that are broken and destroyed that could be realigned and fixed. And the explanation to why that wasn't done would be I ran out of pieces. So I don't think that's viable feedback in this situation. You managed to fit everything you can into this blueprint, and the only thing that I can think of, if that's exactly what you want to do and that's what you're married to, is by getting rid of some of these outside walls and focusing more on the interior design of the castle and really pushing that area and just allowing the coaster to go outside a little bit more and pushing that wall up here, getting that castle polished, and then, you know, getting rid of the flat rides and stuff as well, and just really focus on your exterior with all your pieces. And I think then it could work as a blueprint. But right now, I just think the struggle is it's trying to do too many things, and it doesn't really quite fit any of the standard requirements, if that makes sense. So as a blueprint, it needs to be trimmed down and polished, maybe that coaster a little bit shorter. And as a park file, I think you could have accomplished what you were trying to go for. That would be my major points of feedback. Hottie 82. But a good effort. The coaster itself was entertaining. It was fun navigating through that castle, the lift, the lightning, the effects, the lighting itself. It's all really good. So I think you know, it's hard for me to provide feedback on the very minute things because we're running into I ran out of parts discussion, and that I can understand. So maybe next time try to shoot for a park file, which was from your submission what you intended it to be. So just try to focus on what it is that you actually wanted to accomplish. And maybe you'll run into less issues in the future. All right, well, what did you guys think of the coaster from Hottie 82? You think it's a good effort? What did you like about it? Fire away down below. As well, for what did you think of Sawmill by Roger, his first ever submission, quite wonderful, and as well as Blastkat's first actual spotlight creation that's not a part of a contest. Really good stuff from three amazing builders. Can't wait to see what you guys do next. Keep building, keep having fun, and thank you guys for supporting the show through the Patreon program. Really do appreciate it. And thank you to all the viewers for watching. You guys are awesome. I hope you enjoyed the episode, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye now.